Phil Keoghan. You have two shows on CBS now, The Amazing Race and Tough as Nails. I want to start with The Amazing Race because we go way back with that show. But last time we talked, it was 2 years ago this month, and you were in post-production on season 32, and it did
Right.
not air for another 16 months. And that
Wow.
was also coming up on 2 years since it had been filmed. So what was it like for you to be able to finally share that season with fans, and especially during a time when we couldn't travel?
I got to say this, it's been heartbreaking waiting to share race, not just season 32, but then getting stopped in our tracks with 33. And it's been so tough. And obviously we can't wait to get through the pandemic to be able to produce more races again. And if there's any silver lining, it's the fact that people have gone in and binge watched Amazing Race, and we've collected some new fans. But I just hate not being able to, or I've hated not being able to tell fans when race is going to come back. So when we finally had that opportunity to share season 32 with people at a time when they were tied to their homes, it was incredibly satisfying. But in the back of my mind, I was also thinking, oh, how long before we're going to be able to get another one out? Like, how long is this going to go on? And the question I keep getting is, when are you going to shoot more Amazing Races? And it's difficult to not be able to give a definitive answer on that. But now where we are now, June of 2021, and the idea that we sort of can see not necessarily an end to COVID, but at least a way to manage shooting in COVID, and having shot Tough as Nails through two seasons of Tough as Nails through COVID, you can see it's possible. So at least it feels like there's some light at the end of the tunnel.
Mm-hmm. Well, when you were waiting for it to finally get on air, did you guys, I'm assuming you guys didn't make any changes to the season and post, but you guys did add a message before the first episode of saying, this was filmed before COVID.
Yeah, I mean, you still have to go through the show and just make sure that there isn't anything that is glaringly off, that maybe now looking through a new set of lenses based on what's happened with COVID, that anything is going to be jarring. So you obviously do a pass on looking at the show from a new perspective, a new world. But yeah, we just had that disclaimer at the beginning that you're looking at a world that existed before the world that you're living in as you watch it. And we haven't had to do that before, because the world changed so dramatically I guess it's been a year and a half now. Certainly since the world shut down, I guess it was like February of 2020. So much has changed. And who would have guessed that that what's happened would have happened?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And I felt like the season was a little bit kind of nostalgic too, not just because we're watching these people being able to travel from country to country, but you guys brought back an old element, the yield, as well, while introducing some new elements like the mega leg and the city sprint. So what went into those decisions?
I think that's again about when you've been on as long as race has been on, you're just looking to try some new and different things. And like running in high heels in Manila. So look, the format of race has always been what's held the show together, along with great casts. But yeah, you want to try some new things, bring back some things. Fans let us know what they like and don't like. And there's been things we've tried that have worked and haven't worked, but you got to keep trying to reinvent things, right? You don't want to be stagnant. So yeah, the mega leg, it's like you expect a dinosaur to come around from around a building or something, ooh, it's a Tyrannosaurus egg. Yeah, so you're always trying new and different things. You can't just keep doing the same thing. I mean, a chef cooking in the kitchen he's always got to try something new. Yeah, maybe I'll sprinkle a little paprika on it today.
I mean, like the mega leg was a good twist on like the double legs that we were used to. So
Yeah,
it's like
yeah,
something old, like but new. So
old but new, and just that old Mr. Keating reference, I guess, to Dead Poet Society, where Robin Williams says to the class, stand on your desk and now look at the room that you've been coming into for 5 years, and doesn't it look different when you stand on the desk? So you can be doing the same thing or coming to the same place, but just change it up slightly with a different perspective. So I think in life, that's right. You want to try to keep trying new and different things. You have to take a few risks.
yeah. Well, speaking of fans being vocal about what they like and don't like, there was a lot of criticism about the Mind 5 Alliance and just like the alliances in general last season, and the answer sharing, especially in Germany with sauerkraut. And some fans don't think that's in the spirit of the race and were frustrated by it. Like, what were your feelings about it? Were you frustrated by all the answer sharing?
No, I can understand why people were. And I do think it was very different from anything else we've ever had on the race, but it's what happened. Our show has never really been about that. Every now and again, a team will help somebody out, but particularly towards the end, a lot of it's become about individuals fighting for their own win. But when you put random people together in a scenario like this, you can't always predict what's going to happen. I never predicted that would happen. I mean, if race could run for 100 seasons, and I never would have thought that something like that could happen. But yeah, I mean, what do you do? They're like,
I guess some fans, are calling for maybe like a rule in place to prevent that. So I don't know. Is that something you guys have talked about?
That's something. I guess that's something to talk about. But sometimes you don't know until it happens to then create a rule, right? Like, because you don't know that people are going to do that, certain things. And you got to be careful about making stuff up on the fly too, right? Without perspective and analysis and understanding things. I mean, the rule book, the rules and the subtleties of the rules are constantly changing. There's a new draft every season because little things happen. People try to get away with little, with different things. They come into it with a different perspective every time. So it's impossible to get every single thing right, and it is impossible to please every single fan, because there were some fans that really liked it because they liked the 5 that were aligned, and so there were some fans who liked it. So if you try to please everybody, first of all, it can never be done. But you also want to take note of both sides of it and reassess it. So there certainly will be some discussions about it. But like I said, not in a million years that I ever see that happening on the show. I mean, in 30.
Yeah, I mean, it did take 32 seasons for that to happen. So
yeah, I mean, I'm sure there'll be other things that happen down the line that we haven't predicted at this point as well. I can't tell you what they are, but who knows? I mean, yeah, it's crazy. I mean, we've seen it on Tough as Nails too, where things have happened. You're like, you can't imagine that people would take a certain approach, but then they do, and you go, okay, well, that's a surprise.
Yeah. Well, since you guys were delayed, last year was the first time you guys missed an Emmy cycle after 17 years and 10 wins. You have some of your Emmys behind you. So what was it like for you last year, like just be a spectator of the Emmys over Zoom?
Well, I think the competition has got tougher. I think, if anything, it's only made us hungrier to come back to see if we can still compete and still be relevant. I believe we are, and I think the show is still setting a standard for excellence as far as reality television goes. I think the fans have certainly communicated that. Of course, we wanted to be in the mix because you want to be relevant. And my biggest concern through all of this is to just keep race in the zeitgeist. It's managed to do it for so many years. you want to be a part of it. You want to keep on striving to be better and every year improving. And like I was saying before, trying new and different things. So yeah, frustrating not to be there, but also I think it's inspired all of us who make the show to be like, right, we're coming back. We'll be there again, you know, like, let's see if we can get back again. So that's the goal. That's what we're aspiring to. It is the measure of excellence in our genre. So we'll do everything we can to get back and be there for the next Emmy cycle.
Mm-hmm. So what is the latest on season 33? You guys had to shut down filming February last year. You were one of the first shows to shut down, and obviously it's harder for you guys to pick back up.
Yeah, so CBS wants us back on the schedule. They want us to come up with a plan. Bertram, Delise, and Mark Vitullo have been working extremely hard to try to get us back up and running. And so I think we have a plan that will work in this world that we live in. But the expectation from the network is that we get season 33 finished and then we roll into more seasons again. If ever there was a show that was affected by a global pandemic, it's Amazing Race. I mean, we're not in a studio in the Valley here in LA. We're in multiple countries dealing with different rules, and we're traveling through public places, and it's the logistics of race are, you know, have been and still are, in my opinion, the most complex of any reality show in the history of television. I mean, the amount of people we're moving, the amount of logistics, the amount of considerations. Having shot during COVID now 2 seasons of Tough as Nails, just trying to do it in LA outside has been challenging enough. So then you add the layers of moving people in planes to different countries, adds a whole other layer of complexity. So yeah, the team has worked incredibly hard to get a plan in place. And the good news is that we should be up and running soon.
Knock on wood.
Yeah.
Well, switching to Tough as Nails, and you guys were able to actually film, like you said, and air 2 seasons this year. I think it's a great pandemic show because we've all had new appreciation for essential workers in the past year. And one of the things I love about the show is that people don't get eliminated. Like, they get eliminated from the individual competitions, but they still remain on the show for the team comps. So can you talk about how you guys came up with that twist and why it was important not to send anyone home?
Yeah, so much time and energy is spent casting captivating characters for shows, and there's so much potential energy that's lost when people go home. And for the type of people that we're casting on Tough as Nails, the majority of them come from working in teams. They work on construction sites on a team. They work in the carpenters union, or they work as iron workers, and they're used to supporting each other and being part of teams. So yes, we are looking for the toughest of them all, but we love that team spirit. And the reality is that the majority of the people who come on Tough as Nails will win their money in the team competition. They're not going to win big overall prize. So we like the idea that, yes, you come on Tough as Nails, and yes, we will have one champion, but everybody's going to go home with some money in their pocket. You know, you put in the work, you're going to reap the rewards of doing well in the team competition. So I think that, oh, thank you. I've just been delivered a beautiful cup of tea.
Cheers.
Which I love.
Here's my water.
You have your water? Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, what we're seeing now in season 3, we're shooting season 3 right now, is we're seeing this spirit of what it's like to be part of a team, and how quickly everybody becomes a family, and how supportive everybody is of those who get eliminated from the individual competition. And then those people on their team realize, wow, this person who was eliminated, their only way to make money and take it home to their family is part of the team. I'm going to do everything I can I've still got a shot at the individual, but I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that my teammate goes home with money in their pocket. It's really extraordinary just how quickly they become close, that our cast members become close and become family. And unlike a lot of shows where they're competing by themselves and they're isolated by themselves, on Tough as Nails, they spend a tremendous amount of time together in those vans, those driving moments, drive time. We've had the most poignant moments in that van talking about race and sexism, ageism, the struggles that they've all had. We're trying to keep it real with people talking about addictions that they might have had, struggles they might have had financially, struggles on the job site, injuries. The majority of Americans can identify with our cast because the majority of Americans are doing the types of jobs that our cast do. The other thing we really pride ourselves is in the diversity, and through diversity, you get different perspectives, you get different stories. I don't think that we've seen the types of people that we've had on Tough as Nails represented this way before. There's such a mixture. They're not good dancers or good singers or wanting to be famous. They're people that roll up their sleeves, go to work on Monday, some of them working, very, very long hours, year after year, struggling, living paycheck to paycheck. And that's a lot of Americans. And so I think the audience has identified with the show because they can see themselves reflected back. It's my uncle, my aunt, my brother, my sister, my co-worker, my fellow union worker on the job site. Yeah, I do feel you're right. The fact that we really zeroed in on essential workers in 2020 has given the show more interest, I guess. I mean, more people have been connecting with it because they saw Sally last season as our nurse, and they saw all these people that make sure that stuff works in America.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, definitely, for sure. Well, you also shot season 2 during COVID, and like we were talking about before, you do deal with a lot of unpredictable stuff on these shows. And that season, you had an injury that took Tara out. You had one with Patrick needing medical attention, and you also had a DQ with Mikey Eyebrow. So what was it like dealing with all these developments?
Certainly season 2 really tested us with regards to a lot of anomalies. The pandemic definitely had a major effect. Like with Freight Train, he hurt his rib in the harness coming down. In a non-pandemic world, we would have got him checked out and he would have come back. He was fine to come back and compete. In a pandemic world, you send him away to get checked out, he leaves the bubble, the protective bubble,
yeah.
the Tough as Nails bubble, and he's out. He can't come back until, we couldn't get him back until the finale. The situation with Tara with the injury, this is something, I mean, I got them at one point to put up their hands if they'd ever experienced an injury. Every single one of them has had an injury and worked through an injury. And so it's just unfortunate that her injury flared up. So it really tested the format. But the format is rock solid, and it held up, and we got through another fantastic season. And I do believe because of the foundation of the show, the structure that holds it together meant that we could actually operate and make the show work with 9 out of our 12 cast. It still worked. And we had some luck go our way with people who were injured and people who were left the show, and the way that the numbers worked on the team and everything. But I think it was listen, it was no joke shooting during COVID. This is at a time when we didn't know if you had to spray things down and whether so it killed us with shooting time. Like the green zone art department would go in to prep the set. Then it had to be sprayed down. We had to wait 10 minutes. Then the red zone could go in, and then the red zone would be in there, and then we would touch stuff. And then if we needed to make a change or add something, spray it down again, red zone come out, green zone go in, another spray down, another 10 minutes. I mean, it was we couldn't sit together to talk about story because the red zone and the green zone couldn't have lunch together. We couldn't use the same restrooms. We couldn't use the same water supply. We couldn't use the same. I mean, it was just how our production team got through all of that on top of making a TV show is a testament to the resilience of our production team. It was not easy, Joyce. I'll tell you, it's a little easier right now. We're out shooting season 3. Whew, but, you know, and all around us while we were shooting season 2, every day we would hear, oh, this show down the road just got shut down because one of the cast members got COVID and they shut the whole thing down. Hundreds of people out of work like that in one test, done. So every day we had to give the teams, the whole team, a pep talk and say, listen, let's all look after each other. Let's remind each other about social distancing and masking. And then you add in the layers of complexity now with not being able to make vaccinations mandatory and not being able to ask somebody. I mean, you're looking at something that is, it's like navigating shark-infested waters. It's not easy.
Yeah, well, hopefully, like it sounds like season 3 is going a little bit better now that you've had one season under your belt, under COVID protocol. So can you give us like a 3-word tease for season 3 and how's it going so far?
Joyce, I'm gonna tell you this. Nobody is gonna believe that this show is real. I got into it with somebody online last season. They were like, this show is so fake. You guys are scripting all these moments. There's things that happen this season. Honestly, you are going to question. It's like, Phil, come on. There's no way that happened. Come on. And I'm going to tell you what I'm going to tell you right now, which is nothing has been set up. And first of all, we would never get people with this kind of integrity to ever agree to like throw it or to like massage the numbers for us, or they would not do it. They're just not those people. But you will be questioning me, Joyce. You'll be like, come on, Phil, you must have said something to them, like make it dramatic and lose this one. And then you win that one and do it right at this moment. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's like, if you wrote it in a drama, you'd be like, that's not believable, Phil. That's, you know, you need a better writer.
Well, stranger things have definitely happened on reality TV for sure. We'll just play this clip for everyone who starts complaining when the season starts airing, whenever, assuming it's soon in the fall. But Phil, it was great speaking with you once again. Thank you so much for your time, and good luck the rest of the season. And fingers crossed for season 33 of Amazing Race.
Yeah, and Joyce, thank you for talking to me for what is it, 13 years now?
Yeah, lucky number 13.
Lucky number 13. Thank you for talking to me for all these years. Clearly, I haven't put you to sleep and you keep coming back to talk to me. So that's good to know.